Hey everyone, my name's Dave. I'm an information specialist here at McMaster Continuing Education. Today we're going to be talking about professional development programs. Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for joining us. And before we get started, in earnest here, I just want to acknowledge and recognize that McMaster Continuing Education is located on the traditional territories of the Mississauga and Haudenosaunee nations and within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. This is basically going over our different program options within professional development that we're going to be covering in this slide. Um, yeah, this includes creative, critical, and design thinking, essentials, the essentials programs, which is like professional learning, learning for professionals, I should say, our health analytics program, management principles and practices, mindfulness in modern society, our Microsoft Excel program and analyzing and visualizing data, privacy management program, sustainability, and starting your own business. All of our programs are offered in flexible and convenient online formats to fit your lifestyle and schedule. That's right, all of our courses. So if you're sitting there wondering, is my course available online? The answer is yes, it is. If it's with McMaster Continuing Education, all of our courses, with no exceptions, are online. So this allows you to gain relevant skills and experience while learning anywhere and at any time. So first, we're going to talk about creative, critical, and design thinking. So to start things off, we're taking a look at the career outlook here. So you can see that the top skills are things like critical thinking, design thinking, agile methodology, project management, user experience, customer service, problem solving, planning, decision making, and writing. So really like a really wide breadth of skills in this category, obviously, right? And you can see the top posted job titles in Ontario from these different areas, right? So creative thinking with like account executive, digital marketing specialist, copywriters, right? Makes sense, right? Critical thinking, financial analysts, business analysts, project managers, and design thinking, which is probably like the most sort of unique one, right? And that's kind of down to like, you're looking at jobs like product designers, UX, UI designers, product managers, etc. Okay, so moving on, we will talk a little bit about this program in general. So yeah, no matter what industry you work in, building your creative, critical, and design thinking skills will enhance your ability to solve complex problems in your organization. It also complements other programs of study or may simply be taken to improve and enhance your academic career. So for the certificate of completion in creative, critical, and design thinking, you have to complete all 3 courses that are listed on the program page. So courses are, again, they're offered in that flexible online format. So you can, do this when it's convenient for you. And you have the opportunity to go in and take part in discussion and, possibly webinars for the week. Activities include things like reading, participating in discussion boards, doing narrated presentations, individual and group exercises, and interactions with your classmates and instructor each week. So what you'll learn through our creative, critical, and design thinking program is how to examine the principles and models of creative, critical, and design thinking to effectively solve problems for users and stakeholders, how to execute innovative strategies in relation to problems in complex situations, how to become aware of and leverage the roles that they play in creative processes and teams, and reflecting on and meaningfully communicating your experiences of creating, problem solving, and designing, and recognize how to identify, participate in, and support communities of practice committed to sustainable change. So you can visit our creative, critical, and design thinking page to learn more about this exciting opportunity. All right, and moving right along, the essentials programs. So this is a big category because there's a whole roster of essentials programs. But basically, the way this works is that you take a few courses that add up to a certain, like basically once you take a certain number of days in of either one subject or multiple subjects, you can earn a micro credential when you complete that. And there's half day and 1 and 2 day course options. And then you can see there's 6 streams. And I'll just go over those briefly. So in Business Essentials, you'll learn effective management strategies, strategies for remote work efficiency, improved decision-making, managing workload, and improving your well-being. In Communications Essentials, you'll learn things like how to express yourself clearly and with confidence, how to deal with difficult people and situations, and how to resolve conflicts, and the art of active listening. In Innovation Essentials, you'll learn the innovation foundations, including innovation requirements and avoiding common pitfalls, how to implement strategies that will generate innovative ideas and solutions, how to explore and expand possibilities using an innovative mindset. And in Leadership Essentials, you'll learn how to connect with your own inner self-awareness and tap into your natural leadership abilities. We also have a course specifically on leading millennials, including practices that support the recruitment and retention of millennials. Techniques to effectively apply emotional intelligence to better understand, manage, and leverage emotions to manage conflict, deal with stress, and relate to others more effectively. Very, as a millennial, very honored to have a course dedicated to figuring out how to lead me and recruit me, fun stuff. So Productivity Essentials, that program, how to effectively organize your workday and your time, how to set your priorities and optimize in interactions with coworkers, customers, and management, how to better identify and define your goals, avoid common barriers, and design an action plan to ensure your success. And in the Team Essentials, you'll learn how to achieve optimum productivity and harmony in the workplace and foster outstanding teamwork, how to build high-performance teams, foster a motivating team environment, and diagnose team performance problems, and practical techniques for giving and receiving constructive criticism. Yes, very important. So yeah, just obviously a really, really, wide range of things here. Like I said, these are short courses and potentially short programs as well, depending on scheduling, for people looking to boost skills in certain areas. So for that reason, the Essentials Career Outlook is a little different, right? But you basically have I'm seeing, it looks like you guys can probably see some notes that got into the slide by accident. Sorry about that, but you can kind of look past that and see, professionals who want to ensure they master the critical skills needed for success, professionals exploring a new career path, organizations looking to invest in their team, individuals looking to enhance in-demand soft skills. That's who should take this program, right? Top skills, obviously, it's just going to depend on the courses that you're looking at. But yeah, a bit hard to do a career outlook for this one, since it's really just more about like what the individual's needs are, and they're needing to like upgrade their specific skills, probably for the job that they're at now or for a future job that they're trying to get. That's kind of the idea with these Essentials programs. Okay. So we'll move on from that, and we're going to now look at health analytics. So the career outlook for health analytics, average salary is around 84,000, and Analytical Annie, a character that is possibly taking this program, has top skills like healthcare analytics, data analysis, statistical analysis, SAS software quality improvement, health informatics, data management, data visualization, data quality, right? You can see top posted job titles for 2022 would include titles like health analyst, analytics specialist, business service manager, clinical informatics analyst, and planning analyst. And, a very healthy outlook for that one as well, unsurprisingly. Here in Hamilton, of course, We have a robust healthcare industry that's, world renowned and certainly employs a lot of people with, the overlapping expertise in this area, sort of the IT and the healthcare system combination. So makes a lot of sense. It's very on brand for a Hamilton-based organization program that we're offering here. So looking at the main health analytics program slide here, what we're offering in this in terms of a credential is a certificate of completion, and basically there are 5 courses in total that you can choose from, and you earn the certificate of completion by completing any 3 of those. There are virtual classroom learning formats offered for these courses. So, and you can learn more about our various learning formats on our website to get an, if you don't know exactly what I mean by virtual classroom. For course options, you have, we just have them laid out right here. So it's those are the 5 that you can choose from, and you take any 3 of these. So I'll let you read those for yourself. And what you're learning in this program is how to apply the principles and practices of data analytics to healthcare data, how to collect, analyze, and report using health data in common statistical programming and software tools, and assess how health data is used in the healthcare system by key decision makers, quality, and risk managers. The application of big data and machine learning practices for health data analysis as well. So yeah, lots of, again, very useful tools for the modern day if that's the industry that you're in. You can see there's the course options right on the right side there, and those are the ones that you have to choose from. Okay, so three of any of those 5. All right. Thanks, folks. We will move along to the next program now. So that is management principles and practices. So with the whole idea of this is it's ideal for anyone that is looking to develop or upgrade their management and leadership skills. So that's whether you're a business owner or you work in a core business unit, or you're a new or current manager or supervisor, or maybe you're simply seeking professional development skills, this program may be a good fit for you. The instructors of this program will go through real-world examples, applying best practices and techniques in management, leadership, and supervision. They will also build on your personal and professional strategies to enhance work performance. An important feature we are all aware of is the ability to adapt to change, which brings on many challenges, of course. So course topics will cover how to develop the change mindset skill to positively respond to such scenarios. So you can choose between 2 pathways to pursue. Those would be the certificate in management principles and practices, which gets you, requires you to complete 3 courses. And those may include management fundamentals, strategic communications, and change management. And then on top of that, you have to complete 6 units of elective courses. So, and there's not all the available courses that you can take towards this credential are worth the same amount of credit. So basically this one is a bit, it's a bit unique in this aspect, I think. When you look at it, when you look at the program page on our website, you'll see that there are a bunch of different courses that you can take towards this the certificate, and basically your credits for this have to add up. When you're talking about the electives, that is, your credits have to add up to 6. So you could take 2 different courses that are each worth 3, or you could take like other combinations. I think, I can't remember exactly how it breaks down, but I think there's maybe one's worth 1 credit or half a credit and stuff, combinations like that. Anyways, adds up to 6 plus the 3 core courses. And then the other option is you can take the certificate of professional learning in management principles and practices, which is just completing the 3 core courses and not worrying about those electives. Okay. So, yeah, what you'll learn is how to identify the importance and impact of interrelationships, understand the functional areas of management, such as human resources, finance, marketing, operations, and general management, the necessary knowledge, skills, and attitudes and behaviors to work independently or collaboratively within a changing business environment, and developing a personal and professional strategies to enhance work performance, and much more. So we'll move on now to the next program on our list, which is mindfulness in modern society. So what you're looking at for this one is there's two different certificate or credential options. So you can see on the left side here, the first one is Fundamentals of Mindfulness, Certificate of Completion. So that consists of 3 courses. And then there's a 5-course option, which is called Advanced Principles and Practice Mindfulness, Certificate of Completion. Yeah, advanced with the 2 more courses, obviously. So yeah, again, fully, just like all of these programs we've been talking about, it's fully online. And it's looking at basically trying to do a comprehensive overview of the history and origins of mindfulness, foundation philosophies of mindfulness, and the proven scientific benefits of mindful practice. Each course will explore modern and clinical applications of this ancient practice, the current societal shift into living more mindfully, and how we can apply all these learnings into our personal and professional lives. So now, if we take a look at the career options for this, next slide. Yeah. So this one is, I would say, just to sort of summarize this, I would say that most people, well, I don't know off the top of my head what the demographics are of people, people's intentions taking this program, but I would say basically you can probably have one of 2 things in mind, which is either that you are looking to center your entire professionalism around this and sort of be like a mindfulness coach or some other form of mindfulness professional, or you are a professional already in a sort of related field, some kind of health related field, and you are looking to expand your professional bank of knowledge to include this, right? So you can see, that's kind of reflected in the top job titles for 2022 being things like social workers, community health promoters, that kind of thing. They're probably knowledgeable in more than just this area, but this is basically something to to add to your to add to your bag of tricks of things that right? And or perhaps you're looking to become a coach or a specialist of some kind in this area as well. So okay, so let's move on to the next program. So we're going to look next at our Microsoft Excel program. This one has kind of been blowing up a little bit in popularity recently, it seems like, and you can understand why, because Excel is such an incredibly capable piece of software that can do so much, and a lot of people, maybe like yours truly, only know how to do some basic things, but there's so much that you can do with it, and you can bring so much value to your employer with Excel, with increased Excel knowledge, just all of the incredible things you can do with this software that we all probably have on our computer. So so the way this program works is upon course completion, which is approximately 21 hours of coursework, you will receive a micro credential. You can start class basically anytime, but then there's some periods of unavailability for the course, is why I'm saying it that way. But for the most part, it is available on an ongoing basis. And I do, and that includes right now. It is available if you go look to register today. And then once you do register, or once the sort of process gets going, at least you have 12 weeks to complete it from that point. The course teaches you how to consume, transform, model, and visualize data in Microsoft Excel. It's developed in collaboration with Devant and McGraw-Hill. The course uses SimNet, which is an online training platform that identifies skill gaps. So you learn only the skills you need, which makes it perfect for both beginners and up, basically, right? So if you are, kind of an intermediate user, it'll you know, the platform can identify like, hey, here's what we can tell you don't know. So let's learn that. So that, you know, that's pretty cool if you ask me. You know, I think that sounds great. Yeah, we have the list here of, you know, just to get into some of the technical stuff, how to transform data by connecting and importing from databases, how to create Excel formulas, performance KPIs, DAX queries, visualizing data by creating pivot tables and pivot charts, configuring and manipulating data in the same, optimizing data models and managing data relationships, creating calculated columns, measures, and tables, and more. I believe we're going to look at a career outlook here. Yep. So advance your career with Microsoft Excel. Did you know that job postings between February 2022 and February 2023 saw a 13% increase in Microsoft Excel skills? Not surprised. You know, it's just something that companies are, you know, looking to take more and more advantage of, especially as the average worker becomes more and more skilled and knowledgeable in these areas. You know, even I mean, I've certainly in my working experience, I've seen, you know, people who do not have job titles that you would expect from, you know, perhaps in this field to be, you know, figuring out some pretty impressive stuff in Excel. So it's really, you know, something that's expanding rapidly. And oh yeah, a great feature is that you have access to that SimNet platform for life when you do this. So that seems pretty amazing as well, given how capable it is. You know, as I was discussing earlier with the way it sort of customizes learning for you. You also work in a virtual Excel interface. This is a question we get a lot. Like, do I need to get Excel for it? Like, I don't have Excel, but I want to learn it. Well, yeah, you get a virtual Excel interface, so there's no need to purchase a license, and you get unlimited practice with real life business cases. So a lot of really compelling features of this program. It's fairly popular, and I still feel like maybe it's a bit underrated for how much it offers. You know, yeah, I think this one is really neat and you know, just applicable to a lot of people. So, all right, so let's move on to our next program. So I'm going to be talking about privacy management. So little career outlook for this is you're looking at skills like auditing, cybersecurity, project management, privacy impact assessments, risk assessments, problem solving, etc. Right? Top job titles are things like privacy analysts, privacy managers, data protection specialists, data government managers, systems administrators, and solutions architects. Nice, healthy job outlook for 2022 and beyond as well. So yeah, so basically we'll move on to the program page to talk a little more in depth about the program itself. So this is a certificate of completion, and to get this, you complete any two of the 4 courses, and you earn a micro credential once you do that. They are delivered in the virtual classroom format. Yeah, and then you can see on the right side there the different course options. Basically, from this, you're learning the principles that govern privacy laws in Canada and risks associated with the security of information, how to create an operational plan for information access, use, and security, tools and best practices to minimize risk and privacy program management. So definitely something that is, you know, just becoming more and more relevant to more and more companies as time goes on, as, you know, like I said, as everything becomes more digital, and just different kinds of privacy expertise is required, you know. As you know, as I'm sure many of you can imagine, some of the reasons for that. And I will want to just highlight the fact that the privacy management program is also aligned with skills and competencies that are identified by the International Association of Privacy Professionals, or IAPP, for the Certified Information Privacy Professional of Canada designation. And this program will benefit a wide range of individuals if your role involves collecting and storing personal information of any kind. So you can learn more information on our website. Okay. So, all right, next we're going to look at sustainability. So this is a certificate of completion. You complete 3 of any of the 4 courses that you see listed on the right side there. And you can earn a, this is delivered as a micro credential. Okay, so what you're learning here is key local and national issues within the sustainable movement, the roles of individuals, communities, and businesses, the primary policies and laws affecting sustainable practices, and practical tools, resources, strategies, and techniques to develop sustainable living and working environments. Okay. So we'll take a look at the career outlook for sustainability in the next slide. All right. And so who is this program for? Well, it's for professionals looking to develop their background in sustainability best practices or exploring a new career path, as well as new Canadians and permanent residents and individuals interested in sustainability pillars, the economy, economic pillars, environment pillars, and social ones, as well as sustainable living principles. So the top skills for this program, for people working in this field is, would be things like communication, conflict resolution, organizational and decision making. That's taken, those things are taken from, those are obviously pretty general skills, but, this is what we're pulling from the, from job postings as sort of, keywords, right? And skills that employers are looking for with these jobs. So I think it's worth noting environmental employment in Canada is projected to grow by 8.1% over the 10 years between 2019 and 2029, which will result in 50,000 or more new jobs. So that's graded as a pretty positive outlook there for the 10-year prospect. Okay, so we'll move on from that. The next one is going to be entrepreneurship. Kind of a different one to do like a career outlook for, obviously, because, well, it's entrepreneurship program. It's how to run your own business, right? So you're just basically getting these skills and then going off and applying them to start your own business, presumably, right? But we can say that the total number of small businesses in Canada as of 2022 are 1.2 million, and that is up. Well, okay, this is in Ontario in 2021, 437,000. So yeah, basically, definitely something that could be interesting to you if this is the direction that you're interested in going in. Probably not too much I can say about career outlook, but if that's something that you're interested in doing, then that, right? So let's move on to the next slide. So just to talk about what you'll specifically learn in this program, it would be things like key characteristics of successful entrepreneurs and startup businesses, how to identify key industry success factors and conduct a competitive analysis, marketing, financing, and staffing plans required for a new business, and how to articulate a compelling case for a new business idea to potential investors and stakeholders. And so this program is delivered in the virtual classroom format. It is just one course that you take, and when you are finished it, you earn a digital micro credential. And yeah, like I was saying, it's really targeted at future and new small business owners. and people who want to determine the viability of a business idea and understand the process of growing a business, which, is, I would say that's a really good reason to take the program, right? Because everybody knows that, it can be risky starting your own business, right? So the more information you arm yourself with going into that, the better. So, okay, so we'll move on to the next slide here. And that is going to be talking about the change management training. So this is a new offering that we have, relatively new. And the program highlights of this is that it's a virtual instructor-led courses, and it's 3-day or 1-day virtual sessions that are delivered quarterly. So who this program is aimed at are any professionals who would like to further develop their skills in managing change, and leaders with responsibility for change in their organization. So, and as you can see here, the items that are taught are the fundamentals of change management, key concepts and benefits of change management strategy and plan development, stakeholder engagement and effective communications, and change assessment and organizational support methods. So let's move on to the next program we're going to discuss here. And that would be our anti-Black racism and critical race education program. So this is a 10-week program on understanding the concepts of race and racism and how to make changes to systemic barriers. So this basically involves 9 online modules plus 3 virtual tutorials, and you complete modules 1 to 8 to earn your certificate of attendance. And who this program is aimed at is anyone with a professional or academic background interested in developing an understanding of anti-racism education and making a difference. And to drill down a little bit, what you'll learn is historical, sociological, and ideological dynamics that produce and sustain issues of race, racism, and whiteness. Terminology, concepts, and issues of anti-racism, and how to reflect, understand, and apply this knowledge to everyday social relations. So for more information on this program, you can visit our webpage, and we do have a spot on our webpage devoted to this with a little bit more details. And you can always, of course, if you don't find what you need on our website, always reach out to us, which is basically what our job is as information specialists, is to answer those questions for you. So please don't ever hesitate to do that. So I'm just gonna go over quickly here how to register in our programs. If something here today has really piqued your interest and you want to know how to register, it's actually very simple. What you have to do is you basically go on our website and you find the course that you're interested in. When you find the course that you're interested in, you're going to see the if it has a section available for enrollment at the moment, it's going to show up when you click on the course. And then when you look at those sections, you'll kind of see, okay, here's the dates that it's running, as well as the cost associated, and then you just add that to your cart, and then you go into your cart and you say, I want to check out. And if you want to do more than one course at once, then you add those additional courses to your cart. Just obviously don't overload yourself, and keep in mind your other responsibilities. Some people sometimes do seem to get the impression that they need to choose every course that they're ever going to take and register for all of them, and then kind of get into a mess with a schedule that's too full. So don't do that. Just take the courses that you want to take in the current term. Okay. You can see here the registration criteria is Ontario Secondary School Diploma or equivalent of that. So a high school diploma from other province and stuff is fine as well. You can also be a mature student or deemed some kind of exception to the above cases, which is very rare because the above 2 criteria definitely apply to most adults, right? You could maybe find an exception. If that's the case, just get in touch. And in terms of English proficiency, if English is not your first language, we have links to this all over our website, but you just go to a page from McMaster that shows you the scores in certain English proficiency tests. And basically, you need to ensure that you have attained that score on a test, or equivalent to that. And but for the vast majority of our programs, you're not required to provide documentation as part of a standard registration or enrollment process. Although for programs that have applications, which none of the programs we've discussed today have applications, but if you happen to get into one of those, they may ask you to report your test score at least. So, but yeah, not really an issue for the programs that we've discussed today. So here are some other programs that I didn't discuss today in this, but project management, which is I believe we did discuss this in our business seminar that we did, and that's a huge program right now. Retirement community management, open source intelligence, academic writing, fundamental career development tools, corporate training, and the learning continuum 55 plus courses, which, by the way, you don't have to be 55 plus to take. So if you see a really cool course in there, and you're under 55, don't worry about it. You can still take it. Just an FYI. So and here they are written down. Reach out to us anytime on our website. Go to the thing that says contact. You'll find the contact form. Fill it out. It's monitored very very judiciously and regularly by myself and my team. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us there. Okay. Thanks very much, folks, for joining us today, and we will call it a wrap. So thanks all for joining in, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.